All it took was one episode of Ahsoka for people to see that despite Disney and Lucasfilm's best efforts, a massive marketing campaign, fan events before this series launch, even moving the release time up to desperately try to make it a primetime must-see television event, that Ahsoka was not going to draw the interest of other Star Wars and Marvel shows. Despite a decent amount of interaction on social media, the actual ratings themselves showed that Ahsoka was not in demand, that it was an embarrassing start to this series for Disney and for Lucasfilm. 1.2 million households tuned in over the course of the first 6 days. Compare that to something like 2.1 million for 4 days of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Compare that to, 1.9 million for the first 6 days of something like Book of Boba Fett, or even 1.6 for the miserable season 3 of The Mandalorian that debuted earlier this year. But the hope for some people out there was that this could draw more fans in, that this wouldn't have a big drop-off, that in fact it might increase viewership over the course of the next few weeks. Well, here we are at the end of Ahsoka and a very disappointing finale that once again divides Star Wars fans. And we're finally getting some news. And just as many of us thought from the beginning, despite the hopes of Disney and Lucasfilm, instead of gaining fans, instead of gaining viewership, Ahsoka lost a significant amount of viewership. And this is the sad result. Over 6 days of the season finale, less than 1 million households tuned into Ahsoka. In fact, here's that number, 863,000 households. Now, this is only really helpful if you compare it to other Samba TV numbers. We've gone over this before. The Nielsen ratings measure things in minutes watched. That has also been horrifically bad news for the Ahsoka series. The premier series that's on Disney right now can't even get in the top 10 when it comes to Nielsen streaming ratings, at least through the first 4 weeks. Maybe there'll be a bump. There's a delay on those ratings, so we haven't seen episode 5 yet. I do think there'll be a little jump for people rewatching the Anakin episode. But other than that, it's all been bad news for Disney. But really, this is what should be expected. Most of these finales do not have the same number of people tuning in. Even look at something like, the MCU series. When you have WandaVision, 1.6 tuned into the premiere, 1.4 to the finale. Loki, 2.5 million for the first episode, 1.9 for the finale. Now, Falcon Winter Soldier and Hawkeye had lower drop-offs. Falcon Winter Soldier, 1.8 million tuned in for the premiere, 1.7 million for the finale. Hawkeye, I think 1.4, 1.5 million premiere, 1.3 for the finale. But Ahsoka lost almost 30% of its audience from the first episode to the finale. It'd be one thing if it was a massive smash hit for the premiere, but it wasn't. It was bad. And now we're seeing that this is a show that had about half of the audience of some of these other Disney Star Wars finales. Let's take a look at the comparison for Book of Boba Fett, shall we? 1.9 million in the first 6 days, just like Ahsoka, watched that premiere. 1.6 watched the season 1 finale. That's about twice of the amount of people that watched Ahsoka. And Book of Boba Fett was a dreadfully bad show. What about Obi-Wan, right? 2.1 million in the first 3 or 4 days, 1.8 million for Obi-Wan Kenobi over the first 5 days of its finale. And then you have the miserable failure known as Ahsoka. The one thing you can say is that it beat Mando season 3. That's the one thing we can look at Ahsoka and be like, hey, it had better numbers than the finale of Mando season 3, which I still think Mando season 3 is worse overall than Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka's right in the middle of kind of what they've done Disney Star Wars wise, which certainly is a very low bar. But all of these numbers just validate what we've been talking about this whole time, that this show did not generate the interest level. There wasn't a lot of people engaged, and the people that did tune in and give it a chance, a lot of them said, okay, I'm out. I think they were hoping that things like the Anakin return would boost up this viewership and stuff like that, make up for the really poor performance of the premiere, but that just wasn't the case. This is a series that did not capture the attention of the audience. We'll see how the Nielsen streaming numbers play out. Again, this is about minutes watched. So say somebody watches an episode multiple times. That will factor in and look like more people watched it when you look at the Nielsen ratings. What'll that be for episode 5? I've maintained I think there will be a boost in episode 5 and then a massive drop off for episodes 6, 7, and 8 as we get through the finale. Because the fact that they're not cracking the top 10 in overall streaming shows is a pathetic failure in and of itself for Ahsoka. The fact that they're hanging on to a 7th spot in original streaming programming is very sad. And now we get these real household numbers from Samba, a miserable failure for Ahsoka and for Disney Star Wars. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.